What's going on, guys? Joey Franzo here with Flex Training Systems, bringing you another one of them good old coaches corner kind of meet breakdowns. We're just gonna go through Sean's meet and kind of give you guys some context as to what had happened at his competition. The reason why I'm using Sean in particular, because a lot of you guys know him, he didn't have a perfect meet, and we had a lot of adversity that we didn't really have control over coming into the competition. And I mean, you guys always see the positive. You guys see the wins. You guys see, all the good things. But when we can take a look at the mistakes or, the misses, when things don't go your way, that's when you can really grow and improve. So that's what I hope to accomplish today. So just giving you guys a little bit of, kind of context before we get into the meet. 2.5 weeks out from the meet, Sean, he screwed up his foot. He actually went to an acting audition and slipped on stage, and he ended up messing up the, supposedly was partially torn, the tendons that basically hold your big toe and your middle toe together. If that tendon goes, then when you press on your foot, your digits are going to spread out and you won't be able to run. You can't really do anything with it. I was doing some research on, I forget the exact name of it, on that tendon, and doctors don't fuck around with that thing. It needs to be functioning properly or you'll never run again. And I know the injury was pretty severe, because his foot turned black and blue. His foot's, got really swollen, and I thought he had broken something, potentially broken a bone or something, but we missed some squat volume, and we weren't able to train how we needed to train. And it was during a time when, there's a time when you're kind of transitioning from higher volume into lower reps. That's you can't really miss workouts during that time, because as soon as the demand for adaptation goes and you're not facilitating recovery by hitting those taper workouts, you're gonna detrain really quickly. That's why, like, if you were to just do a ton of volume and take a week off, you're gonna be weak as shit as compared to hitting taper workouts. You're not gonna be weak as shit, and of course everybody's different, but you're not gonna be as well off clearly as we're gonna see, especially for a lifter like Sean that's highly adaptive, meaning they need a lot of stimulus and they can adapt to whatever you throw at them very quickly. This is very common in lifters that are smaller, typically those that have partial range of motion. All of Sean's lifts are as low range of motion as we can get them, and that's not how it should be for everyone. That's just the way that he's built anatomically, what we have found to be beneficial. So he screwed up his foot. He missed a lot of volume. So coming into the meet, his squat was a big question mark for me. I didn't know where we were going to be. And I kept saying, we have to just find out. Based on his warm-ups, things went great. And I was like, okay, we might be on today. So, we hit his last warm-up. We're feeling good at this point. We're like, okay, maybe he'll surprise himself. Maybe he will do better than I am anticipating, based on that. So let's take a look at its opening here, 584. And see what happens. So as you can see, we're kind of calm here. He's very together. Not bad, moved, very quickly. So I'm like, all right, we might be in business. I think we jump 10, I believe, to 606. So feeling good at this point. Okay, no problem. Coming up on the second squat here. Yeah, so we jump 10 to 606. This is gonna, help us gain some ground and kind of see where he's at, in terms of, his top end strength, maximum. We're not gonna go any higher than like 628 at this point, because I don't feel really comfortable jumping more than 10 after taking only a 10 kilo jump. But you know, walking out for him really quickly before we get into this, so I'll wait till he spreads his stance, and of course we get the side angle. So this walkout, I mean, it could be way better, but you know, it's really difficult for him to kind of get your stance this wide. It's really hard, actually. You have to kind of like inch it. I think he can definitely slow it down and just take his time a little bit more. I started to get a little bit more excited, and obviously, you know, when the weight is heavy, you want to get more aggressive. Granted, Sean is 21, he's young. You know, there's still, when I was younger as a lifter, I used to lift with a lot of angst. It's just, you're just anxious, you know, because to lift the weight. But it can work against you. I don't think it necessarily does here, but let's see what happens. So we jump 10. Controlled. Okay, so a couple things. As he comes out of the hole, the bar rolls up his back. We can see that this is like a common thing for him. You know, the posterior chain just wants to take over the lift. Right there, we'll get some little up and down. Not up and down, but kind of like teeter-totter action, forward and back. And they actually called this for depth. I could see that top of the knees here. It's really hard to tell from this angle. I'm actually going to go back to the opener and see where his stance width is at. Okay, cool. So then let's go to the second. See if he mimics that. You always want to make sure that every single squat is exactly the same. I've got it down, you know, to the point where I don't really need to think. Maybe slightly wider, it looks fine. But I could see why they would call it for depth. What's really strange is at Worlds, he went excessively deep. So, and he didn't have any depth with any problems with depth his last competition. So to see him miss on depth is something that, well, let's go through it. So he hits the squat, he comes off, you know, okay, so I make the decision to jump, I believe 5, right? Okay, this is me running over to go talk to the jury and figure out why they red lit him. But I made the decision to jump 5. And basically, like with anybody else, I'm going to have them retake it. But I know Sean is not a beginner lifter. Mentally, he was kind of fucked coming into this competition. And the way that I see it, had he made that lift, I would have jumped 5 anyway. Sean's an advanced lifter. He knows what adjustments he needs to make to get the lift on depth, or like to correct his depth. Last year, you know, John missed his second squat on depth, and I was like, screw it, we're just going to go up. But, you know, looking back, and also historically with Sean, I've jumped when he's missed anyway, and he's made it fine. But, you know, this time, I think you can already tell he's getting really excited. That's why I'm not a fan of nose torque. I'm not a fan of getting overly hyped or anything like that. He's pacing back and forth. Like, I would prefer us be calm and collected and just take all of our energy and just kind of focus it into that one lift, into that one point. You know, once you step on the platform, everything's automatic. And you don't really need to think about anything. But I can tell here, especially like on the walkout, obviously it is more weight. Like it is a lot of weight for his size, so you know, controlling that weight is going to be difficult. And I will say that he made weight early for this meet, which is going to affect squat. I don't really know why he was so light. Could have been, you know, a little bit of atrophy from not being able to squat and deadlift like we need to coming into the meet. And you know, over the many meets that me and Sean have done together, cutting weight has always been like a thing he's worried about. But I think now we've reached a point where he's not really too concerned. There's nothing to be concerned about. We've done it a million times. And, you know, my advice to him after this meet was to actually get up to 190, 192-ish, which is like the weak link for him is squat. So if he can get that up by gaining weight, not only is he going to be safer, but he should be able to get a little bit more and potentially bring his stance into a tiny bit. But then we start to have hip his hips kick back, which becomes an issue. Um, I actually think he would be good in flats, but he doesn't like them, so that's a no-go, I guess. Here we go. So right there, I think he dropped considerably faster for this one. I don't know if it just felt super heavy or if he was just getting tired, but like he dropped very, very, like from the side. I just remember thinking, oh shit, he dive bombed that. And what's gonna happen is you're gonna drop down and his hips are gonna kick back and the bar is gonna roll forward, and there's no shot. The reason why he squats this wide is because we just have other issues. Damn, he hits the hole hard there. Definitely got to keep it calm. You know, control your weight. You don't want to. Yeah, right there. Like literally, when this happens, it's over. You know that you're turning 617 pounds into like 700 pounds when you drop that fast, 660 or something like that. Yeah, there's no shot when it gets there. And he was really, really frustrated after this, as you can tell. You know, I should have had him retake. But, you know, I wanted to put the faith in him to, you know, make the adjustment. He ended up missing on strength. Had he made his second, you know, that jump is perfectly fine because you're giving up 2.5 to make 5 kilos. I should have retaken in this instance. Like I said, historically, we've gone up after a miss and been fine. This was this one and another lift with Luke out of like the 250 billion. It was literally 252, I think, attempts that I called. You know, where I, looking back, you know, this one's on me, but at the same time, if we're not going to hit depth, you know, that's something we need to fix outside of the gym. It was just tough, man. Coming into a meet when you have no idea where a lift is going to be due to an injury, you know, I'm not as like usually I can like become I'm very on point with like where my lifters are at, and I kind of know, you know, exactly what we're going to hit. I can usually predict people's third attempts like I have been, you know, before the meet. But this one, you know, we just took a decent opener, which moved very well. I think, like, I'm fine with this jump. Like, I agree with my jump to that weight. I just think we should have retook it. You know, and at the same time, Sean could have made the adjustment to drop correctly. Calling attempts is a very tricky thing because you have to have faith in your lifter when you need to push, but at the same time, you don't want to give them too much that they can't do it. Sean's hit this way before. Again, we're trying to fish to kind of see where he was at for the day. Given he fucked up his foot and we couldn't really do anything. But something I wanted to touch on here really quickly moving into bench is you never want to get frustrated. You never want to lose your composure in the meet. There's always going to be another meet. There'll be another nationals. You know, there's nobody in the juniors to go against Sean next year unless some other ones come up. I'm sure the other guys are going to keep training and Sean's going to have to keep moving if he wants to win that. You know, you can't get frustrated. You can't throw your belt or do anything like that because you never know who's watching. I remember an incident with another lifter, not one of my lifters, at the Arnold, you know, where an official was talking to a lifter and the lifter kind of got pissed and the official walked away and I had to just grab the lifter and sit him down and be like, yo, man, like, this is not the place for that. You're not going to win. You know what I mean? Anytime you try to, talk down to an official, you're going to get fucked. They can throw you out of the meet. They can, you know, do all kinds of, they can revoke your membership. They can do all kinds of shit to you. So you have to work within the rules, stay composed. You know, don't be like Steph Curry and throw your fucking mouthpiece at the ref and get fined $50K. Like, that's literally it. So you don't want to get frustrated with that. You know, he did gather himself a little bit after this. And basically my whole thing was, I'm just going to take the reins now. I don't care what he wants. I'm just going to, you know, call it like I see it, like I did with everybody else. You know, if you guys were looking at my posts that I made after Nationals, we were 88% the entire day out of 250 calls, you know, which is absurd. And we had some really tough calls that got taken away from us. And some lifters that were handling were coached by other lifters or other coaches that, you know, they just missed, like, for things that I had, like, there's nothing I could do. just like technical errors. So, you know, the fact that we hit as many lifts as we hit, you know, it just makes me feel better about, you know, my attempt selection and my just the process and the way that I do things. But I know we can get 90%. I know we can get 95% and just get even better. Uh, you know, I should do a whole video on making attempts because it can really help you, especially at the very, very high levels of competition. So, you know, going into the bench press, I really just kind of got in the groove. This is the lift that Sean didn't have any issues with. He didn't hurt any part of this lift during prep. You know, so, you know, we hit everything, you know, as planned. Really quickly, I don't know if you guys can see it, but so Sean does the soft touch. Oh, let's go back. First off, some judges, depending on where we're at, IPF Worlds, they might be like, oh, your elbows are soft. I think this is straight enough. But I have seen this called for soft elbows. It's kind of like a gambling thing. You want to try to get away with what you can. Especially if it's, you know, going to benefit you and you're going to get more pounds out of it. So he gets the start command here. And the bar, see how the bar kind of touches him? It literally lifts off of his chest. It touches, it goes up, and then it comes back down, and then he presses. I saw that over here. I'm standing over here, and I thought they were going to call him for something like that, but they didn't catch it, and it was very, very easy, 391. Like I said, we didn't have any issues with bench press during this prep, so, you know, we'll just stick to the plan. We already know what's going to happen. I don't have to guess. I don't have to find anything out. I'm not really too sure what I'm telling him there. So we jump 7.5 to 407. I believe this was his previous PR that he missed at Worlds due to a up and down or something. This ref here is really on him. I believe she ends up giving him a red for his finger not covering the ring, but she's sitting over there, so I'm not sure how she would have seen that. Yeah, that's me asking the ref, like, yo, what's the red for? This guy's like, I don't have it. It's the other side. So I think I run over there. Yeah, I run over there. I think I tell him what to put in. I'm not too sure. But yeah, anyway, here we go. We're jumping 5, 418. This is going to help him gain some ground, you know, as we did screw up on squat. I'm actually really, really proud of this bench because you guys know me. I work those. I give a lot of long pauses, a lot of tempo bench. Part of, really quickly before we get into this, what I think makes a good bench press is being able to stabilize the weight. If your body can control the weight, it's just going to make it easier for the muscles that actually move the weight to do their thing. So yeah, let's get right into it here. 418. Hold on. How long is he? So he gets the hand out. Whoa, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a pretty long pause. And he fought it. But I am really proud of how long he just had to hold this weight. You know, the pause that they made him, you know, go through. And then for him to just power it up. That's what we want, man. That's exactly the time. At this meet, Raw Nationals especially, you need to be prepared for anything. The judges are going to make you hold it for a long time up top. You're going to pause it forever. You know, and then after you press, they're going to make you, you know, kind of hold it there and then give you the rack command. So there we go. We're starting to gain some momentum. I feel in the groove as a coach. I'm able to just call numbers as I see them, which brings us into deadlift. You know, I'm happy that he got that lift. He started to be a little bit more cheerful, started to get his, you know, kind of confidence back. And then, so deadlift is another lift that I didn't really know where it was going to be just because, again, the foot. He got hurt. And we're kind of like, this is a relatively light opener for what we were planning on doing before he got hurt. You know, so let's see how this goes. Shout to LVD for the fancy socks. So really smooth. I believe I jump 12.5. 12 and a half. Nope, I jumped 15, I believe. 15 kilos. So 639. It's me being a dumbass. We got some flex girls in the crowd, and I'm saying, showing love, and I'm saying, we gotta show love to the fam. Feel me? Shout out to Ashley, shout out to Sophia. Okay, so coming up here, second deadlift. I'm actually, happy he was even able to get this because, oh, my bad. Like a week ago, he pulled like 617 barely, and it didn't look good. So pretty smooth there. Kind of slowed down once he got to the thighs, but not too bad. So at this point, so we get the lift. Come on. Looking back, I should have just jumped 10 or 7.5, 10. So 655 to 661, and we'll call it a day. Sean wants to win. We're already in a hole now. We're trying to catch Charlie. Obviously, Russell is, we're staying in the pocket. All we had to do with Russell is just hit what we need to hit, and we win. So then we got Charlie coming in second, but first, or second for the juniors. And I think if Sean hit his third squat, that would have really affected what he needed to hit for his third. He ended up not being able to hit his third, so it could have been a completely different situation. So let me tell you guys how we came up with this number. So originally, I believe the number was 3. Sean needed to pull like 310 or 307 and a half, something absurd, to tie Charlie. When you change the number on the bar, I believe Charlie attempted this lift, but we can't go down lower than what he tried. So we have no choice but to kind of just take the lightest thing that we can take, which is that. I think Sean had 300 kilos on this day. Given the injury, given all the fucking shit that he had to go through to get here. I can't even believe that he was squatting after the injury, honestly. Like, within a week or 10 days, he was squatting, and I was like, dude, your foot is literally, like, broken. I can't even believe you're squatting. Like, it was bad. Like, shit was black and blue, ace bandages and whatnot. It was nasty. But, I was actually really surprised this moved as well as it did. Watching this film over and over and over, I did see some things that, so whenever he gets around here, he starts shaking really, really bad. He also broke the ground and started shifting to his left. I think that has to do with him just avoiding that bad foot. But I can tell based on how wrapped around his belt he is that he's very rounded over at this point. So we definitely need to get stronger there. But yeah, and then he ends up missing it. I was really surprised that it moved that well from the ground. Like I said, his squat and deadlift were kind of a big variable coming into this meet. And once the body starts doing that, it just makes it impossible to get the lift. A lot of that has to do with just friction on the thighs. Well, at least we know his grip can hold. All in all, I commend him for being able to, just show up and compete. He still Wilks 499. 499. That is, I remember when he just wanted to hit that one time, which was actually not that long ago. Like, he just wanted a Wilks 500, and he, on a bad day to hit that. That's just let him be an example of someone who came to me with a 1400 total, worked, and he got to where he is. And, he has a bright future ahead of him. He's very young. He's hungry. He wants to get better. He really wants this. It's very unfortunate when you sustain an injury outside of training that you have. Like, if you get hit by a car or something, it's like, what can you do? Like, literally, what can you do? Props to him for not making a big deal about his foot and saying, oh, I have no expectations, or, I'm just gonna go in and YOLO or whatever. It's like, no, dude, like, he showed up, he did the best that he could. Let it be on me. I fucked up on this squat. I should have had him retake. Granted, had we not been hurt, we wouldn't have been in that position in the first place. Squats are so important to the momentum of the competition. If you hit all three of your squats, the chances of you hitting the rest of your lifts goes up exponentially, because you just have that positive energy coming in. We literally started on the back foot, and we just had to fight. But Sean is he's going to do the Arnold. He's going to lift when I lift on Friday. He's going to bulk up. He's going to be, we're going to smash training. We're not going to sustain any injuries, and we're going to demolish his performance. That's really all we can do. I know he's capable of much more. It's very unfortunate. Like I said, when things happen, they happen. But you can only control what you can control. And I think with me and Sean especially, Sean is a smart guy, and I value his opinion. But when his opinion and my, kind of interferes with my coaching, that's when you get in those scenarios where, I don't retake and I do go up because, I know he wants to do well. I know he wants to win. So I'm more likely to kind of say, you know what, all right, I'll put it on there, and you just got to do you and lift it. But, moving forward, and we've already had to talk about this, I'm just going to do what I do with everybody else. I'm going to call it like I see it. We're not going to have to guess. That was a huge thing, trying to figure out where exactly he was going to be for the day. I had no idea. I literally had no idea. Like, we weren't able to train how we needed to train. So, I think with, bulking up and the adjustments that we're going to make, he's going to be much better off. There was a glimmer of, it's kind of like when you're on the same page as your lifter, it's like how I was with Russ and Jonathan and Mikey and all the other guys that had very close matchups. Even in the other flights, the earlier day flights, we have those very, very close matchups, and we need to, I need to be able to do my thing as a coach. When I can do my thing, then good shit happens. When I don't have other people's feelings and wants interfering with my, objective decisions, I can work my best. And I think I have that down, very, very well with a ton of the lifters on the team. Even with Tina, Tina's very close to me, but once the meet starts, we're on the same page. We just make moves based on what we're gonna do there. I know Tina like the back of my hand. So it's very easy for me to call that. And this is something that I hope to do with the lifters that I train over time. We just become more. This is why loyalty is so important, because if your coach is competent, over time, you're just gonna get better and better and better. Like, literally, you're gonna start doing shit. It's like when sports teams play together and they just have that fucking synergy. You know the other person. It's really hard to explain. It's one of the crazy things about human beings. It's almost like a sixth sense. When you guys just like link up, but you're not saying anything. You're just acting. Shit, what was I gonna say? Fuck, I had a good point there. But yeah, he's going to get better from this. These are the meets that sometimes we need to give us a little kick in the butt to just gather ourselves and push towards a performance that's just going to shit all over this. At the Arnold, for everybody competing, there's not going to be as much on the line, so we can push a little bit more. We can kind of... I know a lot of you guys are like, damn, Russ sandbagged his meet. Well, we wanted to get the dub. We want to secure that world's team spot. But at the Arnold, we could push a little bit more. There's going to be less pressure. It's less people. It's kind of it's a much more fun atmosphere. Yeah, man, this day it was a very, very tough day. I started at 8 a.m. I didn't get home. I didn't get back to the room till I don't even know. I had a ton of lifters in every session. That middle session was pretty brutal for me. And then I had to do this. So, but you know what? I've found that when people count on you and when people need you, you kind of just rise to the occasion. You like whatever like how tired you are or lack of sleep or whatever, it doesn't matter when there's other people that count on you. I just, I got to be there for my people. And I think I was able to do that for the most part, 88%. But yeah, I had a fun time, nonetheless. Sean was in good spirits afterwards. And there's a lot of lessons to be learned. Again, control what you can control. Really quickly, I want to give a shout out to Charlie and his coach, Brad Couliard. Charlie had gone against Sean like 3-4 times. Dude, we've been battling Charlie forever. And he had been struggling with weight cuts. He had like the worst meet of his life, like last year's nationals. He almost bombed on squat. Couldn't hold his deadlifts. Like, it was just bad. But he kept trying, and he kept trying, and he kept trying, and he stuck with his coach, and he kept, finding out little things that help him on the weight cut, and he was able to figure it out, and he was able to have a performance that was good enough to beat Sean on this day, to beat us on this day. I think they're gonna continue to push each other, and having that competitive individual, just somebody that's around your level. If you guys saw my snap story the other day, I'm really excited because I get to compete with guys around my strength level at the Arnold. It's going to be really fun, and it's going to just push me to be better. And I think that's what, real if you're a competitor, having a competitor to push you, it's going to, sometimes you need that little kick in the butt, otherwise you get complacent. Not that I would let myself or anybody get complacent. But yeah, alrighty guys, a lot of keys in this video. Let's get a hashtag, keep it moving. Hashtag keep it moving. If you stayed this far in, I appreciate every single one of you guys that left the hashtags on the last video. Honestly, that shit means so much to me. And shout out to Simon Chang for one of my Canadian lifters telling me, hey Joey, man, I like these coaches' corners. I learned a lot. And I'm like, yo, man, thank you. That means a lot. I'm gonna keep doing them. For the guys like that, this is why I put this out there. Alrighty, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one.